We're closest to the breaking point that we've ever been.
Right now on Up with KREM, Spokane hospitals push to their limits as COVID-19 hospitalizations surge. As a fifth wave of COVID hits North Idaho, a Kootenai Health ICU nurse gives us her firsthand account of the situation.
Here at the Spokane Arena used to be this area's largest COVID-19 testing site. Now this spot is back to functioning as normal and people are finding it hard to find COVID-19 tests.
It's a chilly start to the day, but we've got rain in the forecast. We're talking clouds moving back in tomorrow and days of rain, potentially the most we've seen all summer, arriving this weekend.
Up with KREM begins now with Tim Pham, Channing Curtis, and Jeremy Legoo.
The United States has just passed a very grim milestone. 1 in 500 Americans have died from COVID-19. That's more than 663,000 people. Thanks for joining us this Thursday morning on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis. Now this morning, Spokane hospitals are being stretched to their limits as COVID-19 cases surge in the inland Northwest. Just one day after stopping all elective surgeries, Providence's chief medical officer says Spokane hospitals have never been this stressed.
We're dealing with an emergency that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and we're not sure where it's going to end.
Right now, Washington State is seeing the highest rates of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations since the beginning of the pandemic. Currently, Spokane has 18 patients on ventilators in the ICU. Now, during a press conference yesterday, Dr. Dan Getz said none of these patients are vaccinated.
When you're unvaccinated and you get put on a ventilator for COVID, the odds of you getting off of that and living, it's roughly 60% chance of dying. It's like a flip of a coin, basically. Are you going to live or going to die?
Now, he says normally Providence is able to accept about 90% of transfer requests. Now, they're only able to accept about half of those. Now, across the state line, North Idaho hospitals are still in critical care mode. Kootenai Health is treating 108 COVID-19 patients right now. At least 33 are in critical care and 14 are on ventilators. Now, those on the front line say many of the people they're treating for COVID did not think this would happen to them.
If they're able to talk, if they're not on a ventilator, a lot of them say, I didn't think that it would be me who's sitting in this bed. I thought it was either all political or all a hoax or just people who are in poor health or maybe don't take care of themselves as well who are getting this sick.
Now, leaders say they are seeing 10 to 15 new COVID-19 patients a day since last month. Kootenai Health says 87% of its COVID patients have not been fully vaccinated, and most have not even had their first dose. So if you've tried to find a COVID-19 test recently, you've probably been hard-pressed to find any available appointments. And this isn't only an issue locally, but across our entire region right now. Nicole Hernandez is joining us live this morning. She's speaking with local health leaders about their plans for COVID testing in our area. So Nicole, what are they saying are some of the problems and solutions that they're finding?
Yeah, really, it's a matter of our COVID-19 cases being up and straining the whole system. So if you guys remember here at the Spokane Arena, where I'm live right now, it used to be the biggest COVID-19 testing center in our entire region. Now, though, it's hard for people to find any COVID-19 test that's not booked way out. So I actually was able to speak with the Spokane Regional Health District about what their plans are and whether or not they're planning on opening testing in the future. So they said the SRHD is actually working with the Washington State Department of Health to try to set up a drive-through community test area. They're asking for that to happen ASAP, but SRHD doesn't know when or if that would happen. So we went straight to the source. The Department of Health says as of right now, they are not planning on opening up more free mass testing sites like the one we saw at the Spokane Arena.
When we get to this level, all of our systems get stretched. We're all facing staff shortages, and the people that administer tests are similar people and types of healthcare professionals that administer vaccines, and they're the same folks that work in our hospitals and our clinics across the state. So
the Department of Health says the federal government could be stepping in to help across the country. They do have some community-based testing sites across the state, and DOH is hoping to have more of those open up, but the whole system is really strained right now. So to help, we need to get COVID-19 cases down. That means getting vaccinated, wearing masks, and social distancing. So if you are in a situation where you do need a test ASAP, if you need it because you have symptoms or you are exposed to COVID-19, the Department of Health says to call your doctor. But if you need a test for something like an event or or traveling, that's where you should reach out to local pharmacies or try at-home tests. In Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Now it is 6:03. Let's go ahead and get a look at the forecast as people are heading out to work, getting ready for school this morning. Jeremy, definitely a morning where you need that extra layer, maybe a coat, maybe some boots, extra hot coffee. What do you think?
All of it.
All of the above.
Channing, you probably know, some of our viewers might know, Kylie and I recently adopted a little puppy. And this morning, I took that little monster outside. Yep, he's a puppy. He's a little monster. And I took him outside along with our dog. And I stepped out and I went, oh, no, I got to go find a coat. And then I'm rifling through the closet trying to find a coat going, why is it so cold? And when I'm outside right now, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Why is it so cold? And everybody's at home going, yeah, it says 42 right next to him. That's not that cold. Let me tell you, it is colder. This is at the airport, and it is colder. We are down in the 30s around parts of Spokane. That does include Fairchild Air Force Base. That includes parts of the South Hill. That includes the north side. And up in Deer Park, well, it's even colder. How about this one for you? Ready? 35 in Deer Park and cooling. I actually just checked. The thermometer currently reads 34. We are rapidly watching temperatures drop across the region. 36 in Sandpoint. You're down to near freezing in Newport. 40 in Coeur d'Alene this morning. And for that reason, we have freeze warnings in place for northeastern Washington, where things are expected to get cold. Frost advisories elsewhere, where temperatures are expected to fall into the 30s. And keep in mind, we're still about a half an hour away from sunrise. Then it has to make it over the mountains. And with that at play, what winds up happening for us is we still have another solid hour of cooling down. So, maybe if I go faster with weather, I can come inside earlier. All right, clouds clear out, calm wind, radiative cooling is what's going on as we speak, and radiative cooling is going to drop our temperatures down into the 30s. I'm pretty confident of that. We're seeing it all over Spokane already, and by this afternoon, it struggles to get up there. Well, we're going to gain 30 degrees, which is pretty impressive for this time of year, but expect to top out in the upper 60s later on today.
It is now time for your morning rush. More news in less time. A big reward is now being offered to find a missing Tulalip Indigenous woman. Mary Johnson, also known as Mary Davis, went missing last November. Her family's put up billboards with her photo in hopes of finding some answers.
Now that she's disappeared, we don't know where she's at, if she's dead or alive. It'd just be nice to have her back.
Police say she was on the way to a friend's house but never arrived. They believe at some point she was taken to Oso, Washington. The FBI is now offering a $10,000 reward for any information leading to who is responsible for her disappearance. A former Idaho State Police trooper convicted of false arrest will now spend time in jail. In June of 2017, Joshua Cargaris pepper sprayed a dog and unlawfully arrested a woman while responding to a car alarm near his home. He was reportedly placed on leave during the investigation, and his employment with ISP was later terminated. A nationwide bus driver shortage is impacting students in Spokane public schools. A spokesperson for Durham School Bus Services says they cannot pinpoint why there's a shortage, but confirmed 11 drivers have resigned since the Washington vaccine mandate announcement. SPS parents are also saying students' buses are picking them up late or sometimes not at all.
I get text messages from the schools when buses are late, and I'm getting these messages daily that buses are late picking kids up in the morning, which means that they're out waiting, which is safety problems. Yesterday at the elementary school, there was a bus that was an hour late picking the students up.
SPS says they're aware of the issue. They sent out a text alert and email stating that Durham is looking for substitute and permanent bus drivers. Irvin Magic Johnson was the keynote speaker at an Association of Washington business dinner at the Davenport Grand. Now, Magic said his success in sports and business all started with the lessons he learned from his parents.
I love to help people. She taught me that and instilled that in me. They told me anything that I was going to get out of life, two things had to happen. That was education, and you're going to have to work for everything.
Johnson shared stories of his basketball playing career along with his business knowledge. He also jokingly said he still hates his old rival Larry Bird after their fierce battles on the hardwood back in the 80s. Now that's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Still ahead, we're crossing our fingers for the rain to help us recover from our dry summer season. But does this mean that wildfire season is coming to an early end?
Yes and no. That's a very complicated one. We'll walk you through it coming up in just a bit, but what we do have is plenty of rain in the forecast. And the reason I'm saying yes and no is because this rain is the start of a change in our weather pattern that brings about more chances of rain in the weeks to come. I'll walk you through it in just a bit.